Hello and welcome to the Android App Store. This is Hello and welcome to the Android App Store. Hello and welcome to the Android App Store. This is going to be a video discussing the state of mobile gaming and what we as consumers should expect from mobile games and what the game developers should expect of us also. Now, I've always thought that mobile gaming was just a load of crap. Honestly, I mean, not all games are made that way, but what I'm referring to specifically is the kind of games that are just unplayable unless, well, you give it money. And usually that can be a lot of money. You get a so-called free-to-play games. You get so-called free-to-play games, and then you end up paying more than you'd pay for AAA games. You get a so-called free-to-play game, but in the long run you end up within months or years and you get a so-called free-to-play game and it's just impossible to play without actually paying money. You get a so-called free-to-play game and most people end up paying more than you'd pay for a next-gen AAA game on that game. You pay for you get a so-called free-to-play game, but in the long run you end up paying hundreds sometimes to play that same game because it's just impossible otherwise, and some people just don't have the self-control to stop themselves. But that's been exploited, I feel, by the game developers. It's been exploited to hell. I mean, it's got so bad that free-to-play games are not being criticized enough, is what I'm saying. I mean, you have games that just demand money for the slightest things. For a 2 minute wait, pay 50 cents to skip the wait. Why are we waiting? How is that gameplay? That isn't gameplay. All these games, you can it's pretty much guaranteed to have that kind of gameplay. Again, not everything on the Android App Store is like that. Not all developers are the scumbags that want to do that. But here we have Game of Thrones, which is 565. That's probably free of microtransactions. Here's hoping. There was a roller coaster tycoon game that was for mobile a few months back. It costed money and then it was filled with microtransaction as well. What? How? Why? That just doesn't make sense. But I think they made it free afterwards. Still, it's full of microtransactions, and that's the bottom line. And the microtransactions are not so micro anymore. They're $60, $70, $100+ for stupid in-game items and abilities, which just doesn't make sense. But that's the state of mobile gaming, and that's why a lot of gamers don't take mobile gaming seriously. They think that mobile gaming is just for the stay-at-home mom or just someone on the bus want to spend some want to waste some time, or someone on the bus who just wants to waste time until they get home. But no, mobile gaming can be a lot more. I mean, there's so much potential on the Android platform. I mean, there's so much that can be done, and some games have been showing the potential. Monument Valley, for example, one great game. I have a video on that. That game was pretty much one of the best, if not the best, Android games of last year. That's 2014. But then again, we come to Monument Valley itself, and there's a scary bit of statistic that I can tell you. It was something like this. I can't remember exactly, but the game costs about $5. Let's type it in, Monument Valley, and the statistic that the company released was like only 5% of Android gamers paid for this game. The others pirated it, or they got it on giveaways or whatever, like Amazon free app or dating, and that's kind of scary. 5%. I think on iOS it was 40%, which is better. But here is Monument Valley. It's installed on my device. 100,000 people downloaded it on Android, and only 5% paid for it. Well, I'm guessing this is the 5% that paid for it, and the others wouldn't show up here. So here's Monument Valley, and only 5% paid for it. And that 5% is probably this 100,000 on the hand that shows up on the Android App Store, because I'm not sure. I don't think the pirated copies would show up here. I'm not sure how the pirated copies work or where it comes from, but that is a problem. And that could be a reason for microtransactions nowadays. I mean, sure, it's an exploited concept, the whole microtransaction things, but sure, it's an exploited concept, the whole microtransaction thing. I mean, there are developers who just prey on people using microtransactions, and just just use their and just use people's inability to make the decision to stop themselves. And it's like gambling, pretty much. That's what I see microtransactions as. There should be rules against it, the way that there are rules against gambling, especially for kids, for people who just haven't been exposed to microtransactions and the dangers of it. But anyhow, that begs the question. The Monument Valley scenario begs the question of, are we as gamers doing enough to stop microtransactions? I mean, I was of the mindset before I saw this about Monument Valley. I was of I was of I was of the mindset before hearing about Valley. I was of the mindset before he I was of the mindset before hearing about Monument Valley that the developers are the ones with the problem. They need to stop with the crappy microtransactions, but maybe we as gamers need to step that up and generally as a community, stop with the piracy and take the game seriously, because developers spend a lot of money, especially developers can spend a lot of money to make games. I know Monument Valley, millions was spent, and I know Monument Valley, I think more than, and I think, for example, Monument Valley, I'm sure millions went into this game, and I'm sure they made it back, but not all developers might make it back when they don't have the free-to-play model. No one's denying it. The free-to-play model makes a lot more money than any other than any other system, but again, we have to ask the question: are we doing enough as gamers to help developers so that they can help us by removing the crappy microtransactions? Are we doing enough as gamers to help developers so that they can in turn ease off with the microtransactions? Or is that just a thing that's gonna stay forever? I don't know, but it's kind of scary, the state of mobile gaming, and it just won't have a future if this is how it continues, because the games are pretty simplistic, and they just ask for your money, and people give them money, and that's it. I mean, what's pushing, what's the selling force? That's the thing. They don't have a selling point. The games are not trying to make a selling point. They just put themselves free on the Android App Store or whatever store. People go download them because it's free. So again, they don't need a selling point. It's free, and then from then on, people just try it. They find out how the mechanics work, and they get drawn into the game, and then that's the point when they start paying. And that's the problem. Game developers are no longer pushed to innovate and to make their games sellable, to make something unique that they can brag about and say that we have this, buy our game. No, everyone's gonna download your game anyways. So that's a problem. We need that to stop. What I want to see is less microtransaction riddled crappy games, more games that cost money, and from us as gamers, we really should support the developers. We should ease off the piracy. We should use the stores, and if you're a real gamer, I think you know where I'm coming from. And I just hope that things can get better. And kudos to the guys at us too. This was a great game. I can't wait for the next installment or the next games. So I hope there are more developers like this to come. Even though the market might look bad with the piracy situation, but things are gonna get better. I know it will. So I'm ending this video here. Thanks for watching. Has been sort of a 50 subscriber special. So yeah, subscribe and like if you want more. And thanks for watching. Until next time, later.